Hello and welcome to Series 3 of the Borne Podcast, the podcast that brings you stories of research, resilience and real-life experiences of pregnancy and preterm birth. I'm Ellie Gibson.
And I'm Caro Tasker.
And I'm Mark Johnson. As an obstetrician, I've seen the devastating effects of preterm birth, how challenging it can be for families who are going through that, and the extraordinary strength shown by parents. And I believe, because I'm a scientist, in the progress that can be made through research. And it is that belief that led me to found Borne in 2013, to better understand pregnancy, to find ways to prevent preterm birth before it begins.
At Borne, our aim is to prevent preterm birth, giving every baby the best possible start in life. We fund pioneering research to deepen our understanding of pregnancy and childbirth, research that brings us closer to answers and realising our aim to prevent preterm birth.
In this podcast, we bring together parents, experts and scientists to share their stories with honesty and compassion. We talk about the science, but we also talk about hope, heartbreak, courage and the small victories that mean everything. Because every insight, every conversation and every breakthrough moves us towards a future where more babies can arrive safely at the right time.
Zack George is known to millions of Gladiators fans as Steel. He's a CrossFit athlete and he won the title of the UK's Fittest Man in 2020 before joining the Gladiators team in 2024. He lives in Leicester with his wife Samantha and daughter Ivy.
In March 2025, their son, Leo, was born prematurely at just 23 weeks and spent 13 days in the neonatal intensive care unit at the Leicester Royal Infirmary before he died.
Zack and Samantha have launched a charity in Leo's memory, Leo and Friends, which supports families facing the challenges of neonatal care with practical resources and emotional support.
And Zack joins us now down the line from his home in Leicester. Hello, Zack. Welcome to the podcast. To start with, why don't you tell us your story?
Yeah, so me and my wife, we lost our baby boy, Leo. He was born prematurely and it was obviously a huge shock. We were just going about our normal day. It was a Sunday and in the evening, Sam was feeling a little bit off. She knew something wasn't quite right and she said, I think we need to go to hospital. So we thought we were going to hospital just as a little routine checkup. Didn't know what we were walking into. First they checked the baby, said all's fine. They checked Sam, and then someone came in and said, he's going to come anytime soon." And obviously that was the worst sort of thing we could hear, and we just wasn't expecting it in the slightest, and it was a huge shock. And me and Sam didn't really know what to expect, really. We just got told, right, we've got to hopefully try and keep him in there as long as possible, and he's going to come any day. And we've had some experience with premature babies. My niece was born at 24 weeks. And when we went into hospital, we were just over 22 weeks. And he managed to stay in there for a couple of days, and then eventually he came. He had a great heartbeat. He was strong, but obviously being born at 23 weeks is always going to be a huge battle. And when my niece was born premature, it was during COVID, so we couldn't go and visit my niece. We couldn't go in and help or be there. So even though we've had a family member who's been through that experience, we hadn't actually been into the NIC units or spent hours there. So me and my wife are extremely positive people, so we were trying to just stay positive all the way through. We've got a really great support unit around us, and being in the NICU is a crazy time. You just spend hours and hours in the hospital. When you're not there, you're just constantly stressed and thinking about you want to be there. And being premature, there's a whole list of sort of battles they have to fight, from bleeding on the brains to collapsed lungs. It's just every day or every couple of hours we'd get a meeting and there'd be something else that's happened. And the nurse and doctors are absolutely amazing, and they did such amazing work. And it just seems like every 4 or 5 hours you're getting told something else. And they would always reassure us and say, look, this is normal. Every premature baby goes through this. This is nothing unexpected, and it's going to be a crazy up and down journey, but he's super strong. A couple of days going by, and there was something that was quite unusual that they were picking up on, and there was pockets of air that were all over his lungs that were starting to increase. And obviously hearing about brain bleeds and collapsed lungs and all that sort of stuff and infection is horrible to hear, but they always reassure you that it is normal for a baby born at this gestation. The only thing that was unusual were those pockets of air. So it must have been about 10 days have gone by now. And again, we're just trying to stay super positive. We're spending hours with him, talking to him. Sam was getting him out for cuddles, and I was too scared to hold him. I was too scared to wanting to get him out. Even though it's great to have skin-to-skin contact, getting a premature baby outside of the incubator is a huge ordeal, and you could see it stressed him a little bit. And I just didn't feel comfortable going through that. But Sam was a lot stronger, and she was able to do that. And about the 10th, 11th day gone now, and these air pockets were getting bigger. And they said, this is something that we need to look into now, because this isn't normal, and this could be an issue. And then they later found out, I think it was the 11th or 12th day, that when they were putting the tubes down Leo's throat, they tore his windpipe, which created a hole in his windpipe, which was then leaking all the air. And for us as a family, obviously that's really hard, because he's going through such an ordeal anyway, and it's no one's fault, but obviously it's a slight human error that's happened. But the windpipes are so small, you can't blame anyone, because there's just a risk of that procedure, and anything can happen when they're removing tubes, putting down tubes. And another thing that's always on our mind is that the reason they put the tubes in fine the first time and there was no issue, but because he was doing so well, they decided to take them out and try and keep him off the ventilation for a little bit, which again, it's no one's fault, but that's always in mine and my wife's sort of back of our minds, that if that decision wasn't made, then maybe he'd still be here. But obviously you can't live like that. But so yeah, about 11 or 12 days, they realised they've got to try and do something about this, and they were contemplating him taken to a specialist hospital to try and perform surgery. And they sat us down and said, if we do this, there's so many risks that could happen. Even transporting him to London, that could be a huge issue. Obviously, he might not survive the operation. And they give you all these scenarios that what could happen. And we just wanted to keep our boy alive, and we said yes, we want to try and do that operation. We want to try and do everything we can to keep him. And then that night he deteriorated massively, and we got a call, I think it was about 3 or 4 in the morning. And during that period, you never sleep. You're always constantly panicking in the evenings. You're always thinking, is my phone going to ring? Anytime anyone calls you, anytime anyone texts you, you always think it's the hospital. And we get a call in the morning, and we kind of knew instantly that it wasn't going to be good. And yeah, we said, you've got to come to hospital because Leo's taking a bit of a turn. So we were getting our stuff together, and then we got a call back again pretty close, saying you need to get in ASAP, really. So obviously we've got a daughter, Ivy, so we had to try and arrange someone to be at the house while we went out. And we got to hospital, and obviously going in, me and Sam knew it wasn't going to be good news. Got in there, and then it was like he was waiting for us, and we got him out, and then he passed in our arms. So yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. Zack, first and foremost, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry that happened to you and to Leo and your family. I'm so sorry.
And thank you for sharing that with us. It's incredibly generous and brave of you to do that. Have they, if it's all right to ask, you don't have to answer this question, have they given you any reason why Leo was born so early?
No, it's something that they kind of never really sort of give you an answer. I think as a woman, women really know their body down to a T, and Sam knows really deep down that she was having quite a few water infections during that pregnancy. So she knows as a woman that it was down to infection, which is a very common reason why babies are born prematurely. So yeah, she's pretty adamant it was that.
So obviously you've had this horrific situation and you've got your little girl, Ivy. At what stage did you decide between yourself and Sam and Ivy to do something in Leo's name? Did it take time? Was it something that you had thought about for a while?
So I'm very much a person who I need to try and find positives out of any situation. And going through the NIC unit, I know how much amazing work they did for my sister, and my niece is nearly 5 now, and she didn't have any complications. She had no issues, which is absolutely amazing. She's doing really well. So I know the amazing work they do through my niece, and obviously being in that NIC for 13 days, we just can see the amount of effort and love all these doctors and nurses have, and just the amazing work that they do. So when Leo passed away, we didn't want him just to kind of be forgotten. We wanted to try and remember him every year, and it was more me. It was pretty much kind of 2 days after he passed away. I needed to focus on something, and I couldn't just sort of sit there and not do anything. My wife, she's very different to me. She just spoke to so many people, and obviously we were quite public about what was going on, and that helped a lot of people. But it also helped Sam massively, and she dealt with it by just speaking to so many different sort of mums and going through their experience and just talking through whatever she wanted to talk through, and that massively helped her. Whereas for me, I needed just something to focus on, something that was going to get me in the gym, a challenge I had to train for, and something that I really wanted to achieve. And the main reasons we wanted to do the charity was to raise awareness for Leo. We wanted to raise awareness for premature baby loss, because we think it's quite a subject that not a lot of people would like to talk about. Obviously, it's a very tough subject to talk about, but I think speaking really helps people. And what we found and the feedback that we got from so many people is that we helped a lot of families because we were open about it, and we were speaking to so many people each week, and it was helping us and them. And then we also wanted to raise money for the NSE unit and try and raise as much money as possible for the amazing work that they do. And for me, I think a lot of it was as well, I wanted to really, it's hard to describe when you talk about it, but I really wanted to feel in pain for the amount of pain that Leah was through. And I just felt like for some reason that was a connection, trying to go for a struggle and a fight and a challenge. Obviously, it's nowhere near the struggle he was going through, but I just needed to feel some sort of pain for that duration. And within my world, my background is CrossFit. Obviously, I'm a gladiator now, but before that, I did CrossFit for 10 years. And burpees are a really renowned exercise to being really grueling. And
They are.
they are, yeah, they're very tough.
They are.
Yeah, and
Awful.
it's an exercise that everyone knows, and it's an exercise that everyone can do. And I remember we went away for about a week or two, went on a couple of holidays after. We just needed to get away to different places. And I was like, I don't know how it came to my head, but I was like, oh, I'm going to do a challenge. I want to do it for 13 days, and I'm going to do a burpee mile every day for 13 days straight. And a burpee mile within the CrossFit world is quite an achievement, just doing it once.
So sorry,
And
I'm an idiot. Is it
No,
literally
it's
doing
all right.
burpees for a mile over the distance of a mile?
Yeah, so you do a burpee. So standard burpee, you do a burpee, then jump in the air. Whereas a burpee mile, you do a burpee, chest to ground, jump up, but then you jump forward. And then you do a burpee, jump forward, do a burpee, jump forward. So exactly the same
Like
as
a frog.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
instead
that
of
sounds deeply unpleasant.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's
instead of
hideous. I'm sorry, but it is hideous. It's my least favourite thing to do and I will avoid it at all costs.
so that's the exact reason why I chose
incredible.
burpees, because everyone has that same thought.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And it takes around 800 burpees to do a mile. So I knew it was going to be super challenging. Yeah, I wanted to do it every day for 13 days back to back, to raise as much money for the Leicester unit. I wanted to raise as much awareness for premature baby loss, and I wanted to, like I said, build a legacy in Leo's name. And my wife was Sam was very much like, why do you just don't understand? But for me, obviously everyone deals with grief in a different way, and a lot of it was obviously I was trying to distract myself from what we were going through and what we were feeling. And and I don't particularly. My wife is a big talker. She loves talking. She loves talking to people. She's a proper people's person, and I'm a people's person. But I don't. With this sort of subject, I'm not. I'm not very open about it with people every day. I think for me, I really dealt with it by just going into the gym, doing 3 hours of training every day, and then that's how I was getting through it. And it's not only later that I've been able to talk about it and be more open about it, but during that specific period, I just kind of locked myself away and just trained hard. And that's how we came up with the 13 days fighting challenge. And we did over about 10,000 burpees over the time. We did it in different locations, and it was pretty special because we had different families who had been through the same experience coming in and joining in. And we really encouraged the community to come down. You don't have to do 800 burpees. You could do one burpee, you could do 5 burpees, you could do all of them if you wanted. And we did it different, like I said, different locations around the UK, and people followed us around the UK. They did the full mile, which was a huge challenge for some people. Some people did their own fundraising to do the mile, and yeah, it was pretty special. And my best friend did every single day with me, and we raised just under 40,000 for the NRC unit.
Wow.
Yeah, and
That's incredible.
yeah, so it was
That's amazing.
it was pretty special. And for me, I wanted to be as much pain as possible. And we filmed Gladiators during the summer. And because I was doing so much training leading up to the challenge, before starting the 13 days fighting challenge, I had a grade 2 11 centimetre calf tear, which is quite a big tear. Obviously, grade 3 is full rupture, so grade 2 is pretty substantial tear. And that was about 2 weeks before I was supposed to start a challenge. And a couple of physios were like, you can't do the challenge. You've got a grade 2 tear. You're either going to completely rupture your calf, or you're just not going to be able to do it. And again, it's going to sound really strange, but I was actually quite glad, because it was going to cause more pain. It was going to be more of a challenge, and I felt like I was getting even closer to Leo because he had that tear in his windpipe, and for some odd reason, I was making that connection, and I was just like, I understand what you're saying, but I'm just going to completely ignore it, and I'm going to do this challenge. And I was actually quite, in a very strange way, quite glad, because it was just going to cause even more of a challenge for me. And yeah, I was still able to do it. Obviously, I was limping; I could barely walk by, I think, the 4th day. So having 9 days left, I was pretty much limping. I couldn't walk around after the challenge, but I was really proud because I was still able to get it done, and then we still completed it.
That's amazing. And yeah, and I imagine quite hard on your partner as well to watch you go through that. It sounds like you just felt compelled. It was a release of all this pain, you or somewhere to put the pain you were feeling in your grief. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think I'm a very driven person, and I really like challenge anyway. So um, with my background in CrossFit, I became the UK's fittest man. So I think to train to that level, you've got to be able to push yourself to certain limits to where most people won't want to go. And that's the same for any top athlete in any sport. You've got to be able to push way beyond limits that majority of people don't want to go. So I've always had a very good pain threshold and a very good drive to push myself as much as possible. But yeah, specifically with this, it was on the verge of stupidity doing that challenge with that calf tear. But again, there was no doubt in my mind that I wasn't going to be able to finish it. There was no doubt in my mind that I was going to have to quit halfway through. I was going to have to stop. I knew I was going to get through this challenge. I knew I was going to finish it. I knew Leo was with me and I was going to be fine. But obviously, telling that to someone who's looking at the scan results and saying most people would never be able to do this once with this tear, let alone 13 times back to back. Um, but yeah, I'm very glad I managed to prove them wrong. So yeah, we did it, and we raised a lot of money, and we helped a lot of families, which we're very proud of. We've met some friends who have come down to the challenge who we met, and they were still in contact now, and Ivy has play dates and stuff like that. So it was really nice to bring sort of the premature baby community together and to achieve something. And I think on the last day we must have had over 200 people on the field doing it with us, and there was my mum was involved, who is 70, all the way down to kids who were 3, 4, doing some burpees, and it was a really magical day. And to bring that many people together and all to build that legacy for Leo, it was a pretty special day.
That's incredible. I mean, your mentality as a professional athlete is exactly that. You know, I don't think it's a comparable one to anything else. And grief is essentially very individual and very personal, and you have all of this love and you have nowhere to put it.
Yeah.
And what you have done is channel that entirely into something that has not only helped huge amounts of people, but you have raised a lot of money for an incredible cause. You have helped yourself, which is really, really important. You've supported Sam, you've been there for your family. It's an amazing achievement. I mean, Zack, it's absolutely phenomenal. And so you did all of that. You've channeled this incredible grief into something that's hugely positive. And where are you now in terms of your charity? How can people get involved in that and get behind it?
Yeah, so like that was the first challenge that we want to do, and the charity's called Leo and Friends, and we want to do something every year. And like I said, it was amazing how much support that we got from people through that first challenge. And like I said, we didn't realize, we knew speaking about our story was going to help a lot of people. But we didn't realize how many people it would reach and how much of a positive impact it would have. And I still get people when we do different events, people coming up to us and saying, you helped us through a similar situation because they went through something at a similar time. So it's amazing to see how many people it reached. And I think definitely for me as well, that challenge, when I finished that challenge, it's a huge, like, it really hit me after that challenge, because that's all I was focused on months leading up to it, and it really distracted me. And then after that challenge, it was a huge sort of like impact, and I really felt it. There's a lot of people like me out there who they use that grief to challenge it and channel their energy to something. And I think for me, a lesson learnt was that it was great for me and it really did distract me. But then it did hit me once I'd finished that challenge, because I was like, right, there's nothing left for me to
Did you
focus on
feel
now.
that you came down quite quickly?
Yeah, really rapidly.
Did you feel, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you are creating also huge amounts of dopamine and chemicals that make you feel good about yourself when you train, which you're used to as an athlete.
Yeah.
And that level of training, and remember the trauma that you've been through as well. I mean, that's quite a dip. How did that manifest itself? How did you manage that? And what would you say to people that have been in that situation?
If I were to go back and sort of give some advice, I would say the distraction was really good for me and it was what I needed, but I think processing some of that grief during that time would have definitely helped me as well, because I literally just shut it off and I just started doing 800 burpees a day, literally, like, and that's all I was focused on. Obviously, we were going away and things like that, but if I wasn't going away, I was training. I was doing a crazy amount of burpees, and I was just getting mega fit for the challenge. And I think I needed to allow myself a little bit of time before going into that training and that challenge to process it a little bit more and a little bit better, and maybe talk about it to a few more people, because it was literally a couple of days after I created the challenge and started training. And yeah, from doing that amount of, from the pressure of doing the challenge and setting the challenge, from finishing the challenge and knowing I've not destroyed my calf, just all of those hit me really hard. And we kind of just booked a holiday, which we just went away for just under 2 weeks, and that was where I really sort of processed it and didn't have any distractions, and just sort of just spoke with Sam and just spent it as the family. So yeah, I think if I had to give anyone a piece of advice, the challenge really worked for me, but I should have allowed a little bit of time before starting that to try and speak about it to family and friends, and just allow it to settle before. But it's easier said in hindsight, because that's what I needed at the
Yeah,
time.
and there's no rule book to it.
No, yeah.
And grief can hit you at any stage. And, I certainly found that we're quite a few years down the line now, but, a smell, a song, a
Yeah.
sound can just sort of hit you, and it can hit you at any stage. And talking therapy is hugely brilliant, and, not wanting to overgender it, but possibly because females carry the baby, we
Yeah,
process
100%.
our grief in a different way.
Yeah.
The way you and Sam came together is really, really key as well. I know that trauma can be very difficult for families, but you've really come together, haven't you, as a group, and a bigger family. Your mum you mentioned, and family and friends. Your best mate was there every day. I mean, that's really important, right?
Yeah, I think that there's
Community.
Yeah, the family and friends is a huge part, and we're lucky to have a big family and network who are all really close. And I think there's just so many different emotions that can go through the relationship. I think as Sam, like you said, who carried Leo, there's that real strong connection, and she felt a little bit guilty that a lot of people were coming to her and asking her how she's feeling and sort of bypassing me. So she felt bad for that, and then I felt bad because I've not carried the baby, so I don't want people asking me. I want to be there for Sam, and I think that's why a lot of men don't speak about the situation, because they've not carried the baby, so they don't want to feel like they're taking any sort of, it's not attention, but I don't know what the right word is, but a lot of men just don't feel like they can express their emotion, because we know how traumatic it is for the woman. Obviously, it's traumatic for me as well, but as a man, you just kind of want to be strong and want to be there for your partner, and maybe doing that, you're not speaking about your own emotions and how you're feeling to many people. And there's just all those different emotions that are going around, and it is very tough for relationships to navigate it. And me and Sam, luckily for us, it brought us closer. We just spoke about it, and we understood what each other needed. And I didn't doing the challenge. I know for Sam that was very hard for her to do, because bringing it all back and being around a lot of people asking how she is. I think that was something that she was really obviously supportive, and she wanted to do this challenge as well. But it was just going to be very hard for both of us. We kind of just did it together. I knew what Sam needed, she knew what I needed, and we just supported each other throughout that journey. And she knew I was gonna do a challenge. She knew I was gonna put my body in pain, and she also didn't want to see me in pain as well. And when I did my calf tear, she was like, "I know this isn't going to change your mind. I'm not even going to try and encourage you not to do it or postpone it, because I know that's just not you. Just know that I'm going to be there for you, and if you need it, or if you need to stop and you need to call it a day after a week because it's too bad, don't feel bad. Don't feel like let anyone down. I'm just here for you, whatever you need." And in reverse, I was the same for Sam. I was like, "I'm here for you if you when you need me. Let's talk all the time. If you need to or would prefer to speak to other families who've been through the situation, that's fine. Whatever you need, we're both here." And I think just knowing what each other needed, and everyone's so individual, and like I said, everyone deals with grief in such different ways, and we just allowed ourselves to process it in our own ways but be there for each other at the same time. And like I said, I've had countless conversations with different men who have never spoken about their feelings or never publicly spoke to anyone about it, and I'm the first people they're really speaking to about it. And that's a huge honor for me, and I felt very privileged that people were open and being able to speak to me about it. And like I said, I just want to help as many people navigate that situation as possible. So yeah, it definitely brought us closer together, and we just allowed each other to deal with that grief in our own individual ways.
Can I ask how you talked to Ivy about what happened, what was going on? Because how old was she when Leo died?
Well, she's 3 now, so she was 2.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and we didn't really speak to her about it. We didn't want to sort of. I think she's too young. She's very very clever for her age, and she kind of was. She obviously knows Sam was pregnant, but we've got no baby here. But we didn't want to speak to her about it. We didn't bring her to the hospital or anything like that. So we just wanted to kind of, when the time's right, we will talk it through and explain the situation. But we didn't feel right to tell her this young age. We'll probably wait just a little bit older. But again, she was at the challenge. She was doing burpees. She was loving it. She was getting loads of attention because she's so beautiful. So yeah. So now she's often like asking me, "Daddy, can we do burpees?" and all that sort of stuff. So when she's older, we'll explain what all that challenge was and why Daddy was doing a crazy amount of burpees every day.
You know, the warmth where you speak about your family just comes through the screen. It's really, really lovely to speak to you about it. In terms of the sort of medical side, because obviously Borne is a medical charity, we are here because of this incredible guy who wants to be able to say to people why or prevent it from happening.
Yeah.
They weren't able to give you a reason, and that's really very, very common. It's not unusual at all. After Leo was born, did Sam get really good care? Does she speak to anyone about this medical side? Are you being looked after as a couple in that way?
The Leicester NIC unit were absolutely amazing, and we got really friendly with some of the doctors who Sam still sees quite regularly, and we speak to. Obviously, with the raising money for the charity, we still had a lot of communication. But yeah, the aftercare was absolutely amazing, and there was always someone there if Sam needed to speak to, or if I need to speak to anyone. And like I said, it was hard not having a reason as to why he came early. But like I said, Sam's pretty adamant it was because of an infection. But it is always hard not having sort of the professional saying this is what caused it, because you kind of
This is why it is hard. I
yeah
agree with that. That is hard.
because going into next pregnancy you're just like, right, we need, is there nothing that we can do to do different, or what can we look out for, or it's just really hard, and it's very scary when you don't get a yes, this is what caused it, so trying not to do this and this going into the next pregnancy. But it was just kind of one of those things, and I think that's such a daunting sort of thing to go through, especially for Sam, because she kind of felt like she did something wrong, which obviously was not the case at all. But when you don't get given a this is why this is what caused it, it's a really really daunting thing going into another pregnancy, not having an exact answer.
That's really hard. And I think, they will take very good care of you if that's what you decide, I am sure.
Yeah, they're absolutely
That
amazing.
was your experience, wasn't it? Yeah.
They did. They took very good, that's how we met Mark Johnson. I was absolutely terrified with my
Yeah.
next pregnancy because I thought every step. And similarly, you do. I'm with Sam on this. You're like, I didn't take any paracetamol. I was so paranoid. I didn't look at soft cheese. I didn't go near alcohol. Was it that time that I didn't know I was pregnant and I ran down the street to catch the tube? Honestly, you think about
all of that.
You micromanage every single thought, every single process, every single action, and it isn't helpful. And it's incredibly hard not to do that. It's incredibly hard not to do that. So now, you've spoken about Gladiators, which is phenomenal that it's come back, because I'm old enough to remember the first time round.
I used to love it.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't miss it on a Saturday, but we loved it. We loved it. And has that been a support for you? How are they sort of the Gladiator family? Talk to us about them.
Yeah, massively. We're such a close family, and we all get on so well. We go up to Sheffield a week or so before we actually start filming, and obviously I was in peak training, and a really special moment where the Gladiator crew is huge. It's a huge operation, and we stopped what we were doing. Everyone got onto the arena floor, and we all did, I think it was 10 or 15 minutes of burpees non-stop. And the whole crew did it, all the Gladiators, all the crew. And yeah, that was a really special moment for me. And I actually kind of just broke down after we did that, because that was pretty special.
Pimples.
Yeah. And it was obviously a very hard thing to film for me. And yeah, it was very challenging to get through that, and to try and put on the best show for the fans, and to every day go out there with the biggest smile on my face. And because my character is the Mr. Nice Guy, I'm always happy, always smiley. The biggest thing for me about being a gladiator is being able to motivate and inspire the next generation. And when I used to watch Gladiators as a kid, I was completely different to how I am now. I didn't eat anything healthy. I didn't like doing exercise. I didn't have any confidence at all. But watching Gladiators is what sort of inspired me, amongst other things, to want to get healthier. So now for me as a gladiator, I want to try and reach as many children as possible and get them feeling confident, get them feeling healthy, get them having a positive mental mindset, and just get them feeling happy and enjoy being a child. And I think for me, that's my biggest sort of aim as a gladiator. So I still wanted to do that. I still wanted to turn up and put on a show and inspire and motivate as many children as possible, even though inside it was a very, very hard thing for me to do. But 100%, that was a very special moment that I will never forget, is having the whole crew on the arena floor. And obviously you can imagine it was extremely emotional, and everyone did, like I said, I think it was 15 minutes of burpees. Even the people that are not used to fitness were trying to do it, and they were sore for days after. But yeah, that was
brilliant.
Yeah, that was a very special moment that I'll always remember. And they definitely helped me massively, and they massively helped me get through that filming process, because it was a very, very tough thing to do.
Sport is amazing.
It is
It's
massively,
such a
and the
love it. I love
community
sport.
is
I love it,
a
isn't
huge
it?
thing. Yeah,
It's a family,
it's
right?
powerful. Yeah,
My story is not dissimilar to yours and Sam's, actually. When Freddie, my son, died, a very similar gestation to Leo, at the time, my husband was playing professional sport. He was a rugby player. And it actually, that community of sport, similar to you, you know, as you're also a professional athlete, they put their arms around you.
yeah,
It
really
is
powerful. We had Gladiators coming down, obviously during the challenge, and they got involved, and yeah, so that we're always there for each other massively, and we're always there to support each other. And the next challenge that we do this year for Leo and Friends, we've not announced anything yet, but I'm sure they'll get involved again, and we want the next sort of challenge to be even more of a community feel, and we want to really bring the premature baby community together, and we want to get families meeting other families to talk about their experience, to try and help each other as much as possible. So I think each challenge that we do will just be even more community based, and trying to bring that community together and just get people trying to help other people, and try and spread a little bit of positivity through some of the hardest sort of periods of people's lives.
Well, keep us posted, Zack, on the next event and the next challenge. Do you think you could do a mile's worth of burpees, Caro?
Well, can I just say, I love my fitness. I spend far too much time in my gym. It's my happy place.
Yeah.
And I'm really comfortable talking about. I love sport. I'm obsessed with watching sport. That's also my happy place.
So she's in.
Yeah.
I will
Not
wait.
a mile.
I'll wait
Not
to
a mile.
find
You
out
could.
exactly what it is you have to do
a
this
mile.
time.
Yeah, you could do a mile.
Oh man.
You've just got to,
Well, I
especially with the
absolutely love
community.
it.
With the community, you'll get it done.
I can do one burpee, not mile.
Is there a website? Is there a Connect? Is there an Instagram handle? How can we connect people to Leo's charity?
Yeah, so we've just got an Instagram page, which is Leo and Friends, and that's where we will update on the next challenge, next event, what we're doing. So yeah, if you head over to Instagram, Leo and Friends, you'll be able to find out more about the challenge that we did last year, and when we start announcing the future challenges, you can find out all the information on there.
Brilliant.
That is amazing.
It's amazing. Thanks again so much, Zack, for
It's a pleasure.
sharing
Thanks for having me
your story with us. I mean, it's to be honest, it's hard to listen to. I can only imagine what it's like to share it, but I know that you'll be helping people. I know there'll be people listening to this, and especially like you're saying, men who maybe haven't even ever talked to anyone about this. Just to hear someone else's story sometimes is the first step, isn't it, to being able to share yours? So thank you so much.
We talk a decent amount about baby loss, and I would say that there is a large community of men that find it incredibly challenging to speak about. So you have most definitely helped a lot of people here, Zack, and like I said, your warmth and your positivity literally is bursting through this screen. It is a privilege to have spoken to you today. Thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you.
Love
Having
to
me
all
on.
the family.
Yeah, love to meet you both.
Love to Sam and to Ivy.
I will. Thank you very much.
For more information on the work of the Borne Foundation and how you can help the charity save babies' lives, please visit www.borne.org.uk or follow the links in the podcast notes. The Borne Podcast is presented by Ellie Gibson, Caro Tasker and Professor Mark Johnson. The music is by Kirsty Newton and it is produced by Laura Grimshaw.